All right, students, welcome. Today we are going to work in our science book. Again, I will explain today about the vital functions in the organisms, in living organisms, plants or animals, right? So let's go to our book, open it. We are going to work exactly in this one, vital functions. It's the page number 42. Well, the first thing that you will see is that the animals and the plants um, perform functions that make them to be a living organism. For example, all the living organisms perform three vital functions that I'm going to show you right here, that are nutrition, reproduction, and interaction. All the living organisms does, plants, animals, all of them. There's no exception, right? Um, Here, I want to make a differentiation because sometimes the people get confused. Maybe you say, well, nutrition is when an organism is eating, and the animals eat, but the plants, do they do? Of course. Maybe it's in a different form because the animals hunt for food, but in the case of plants, they perform the photosynthesis. We already observed in the last year when we spoke about plants that they use the leaves to make the photosynthesis, and that's one of the most important forms of producing food in the environment. That form of getting food, it's called autotroph, because they get their food from sun rays, from the sunlight, that provides them enough energy to create the photosynthesis inside by the mitochondria. If you remember from seventh grade, we spoke about the mitochondria's importance. They are structures like this, I'm drawing it here. Inside the mitochondria, they have thylakoids that are like small circles, and they perform the photosynthesis by using a chemical called chlorophyll, and that's the chemical that gives the green color to the plants. So yes, animals and plants perform nutrition. Of course they do. Now, the other characteristic is reproduction. The animals have reproduction? Yes, sexual reproduction. All, even the bacteria, microorganisms, the fungi kingdom organisms, animals, insects, mammals, the amphibians, reptiles, the fish, all of them have reproduction. But now, what about the plants? Yes, some of the plants have sexual reproduction. Others use asexual reproduction. But yes, for that reason, the plants have something called seeds inside the fruits. Imagine an apple. Yeah? Inside an apple, what are you going to find? Seeds. What do you find inside an orange? Seeds. What do you find inside the watermelon? Seeds. All the time, right? So this characteristic, reproduction, is present in animals and plants. Now, interaction. Is interaction existing in animals and plants? Well, interaction is when an organism is having different relations with the environment. For example, the animals, of course, they have interaction because they move in the environment that they have by using the locomotion. The birds fly, the dogs can run over the land, and other animals like the fish can swim underwater. But now, what about plants? Do they have interaction? Of course. The plants have interaction like the phototropism that we spoke the last class. Photo means light. It means that they react to the light in the environment. They have chemo movements, chemosynthesis, like reacting to the chemicals that are in the land or even in the air, because they perform breathing. They extract carbon dioxide from the air, and they produce oxygen that is necessary for living organisms. So the plants have interaction. Maybe the way to interact with the environment is very different from animals, but they do. they have relation with the living organisms, with animals and plants. Well, only that about this, about the plants. Now, it's important to continue speaking other important points that we can find here. Well, the animals have a more complex form to interact with the environment, a more complex form to develop themselves. For example, all the animals have a nervous system, a brain, and that is the big difference with plants. That is the differentiation. The animals have a nervous system. It means that they can think. They have a bigger brain, a well developed brain. In plants, you are not going to find a brain. That's something that they don't have. That's a big difference, right? The difference between plants and animals, the first big difference is the brain. That amazing organ that is designed to think. Sorry for my drawings. Maybe they're not pretty good, but I'm sure that you are going to understand that this is a big difference between animals and plants. Imagine the most intelligent animal in the world, the human. Can an animal give a class like we are doing now? Can an animal do the things that you do? Can an animal see anime as you see it? If you do it, right? No. That's one of the big difference. The plants and the animals are different, and the most developed animal in the world is the human, called Homo sapiens. Homo from man, and sapiens, that means thinking. So the nervous system, important, that's extremely important, students. The nervous system is divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is more focused in the brain, cerebellum, basically in the head, right? The central nervous system is focused in the head. And now the peripheral nervous system, it's more focused in the body, your movement, your locomotion, where are you going, where are you going to jump. So in Spanish, we call the central nervous system sistema nervioso, and the peripheral nervous system sistema nervioso periférico. So both of them are necessary in an animal, because imagine if an animal has a big brain, but how is going to move to hunt for food? Or imagine, by the way, if it has all legs, arms, teeth, but the brain is not working, it will be like a vegetable. So no, both are important. Nervous system is completed by both of them, the peripheral and the central system. Now it is subdivided into brain, cerebellum, the central system, and even in the spinal cord. But here the important point is what is the function, basically the functions. That's the important part that we're going to see. So we will continue in the book to observe these important things. Which is the function of the central system? Well, first, the brain interprets signals. The cerebellum, it's like the oldest part of the brain, the less developed part of the brain. And the spinal cord, it's like the connection system that communicates the brain and the cerebellum with all the body. So the central nervous system is focusing brain, like the central part, cerebellum, the back and oldest part of the brain, and the spinal cord, it's like a bridge, a communication between the brain, cerebellum, and the rest of the body, right? The spinal cord is connected with all the other parts of the body. For that reason, if a person has an accident and loses the spinal cord, or the spinal cord gets broken, or, well, a bone, a part of the spinal cord is damaged, that person is going to have a lot of big troubles, and paralysis will occur. Now, remember, central system and peripheral systems are connected. Now, focusing here in the peripheral system, we have different nerves. How important is this one? Well, we have sensitive nerves and motor nerves. The sensitive nerves are in charge of working with your five senses. If you see, if you hear, if you taste, if you touch, if you can see, all the functions, the five functions, the five senses that we have are focused here in the sensitive nerves. Important part. A nerve, it's a part of the body that is working and is sensible. For example, sight, the sensibility is located basically in the eye. The sensibility is designed to catch the sunlight, the sun rays, and analyze that information, and then the brain analyze the light and the colors captured by the eye and say, all right, we are observing a color. Okay, now another sensitive nerve that is working hard is the one that we have in the tongue, in our mouth, that is called taste. Taste is focused in the organ called tongue. All the small gustative papillae, these are small parts like sensible nerves that can detect the taste, if something is salty, if something is sweet, if something is sour. All the different flavors are detected by the tongue, and then the tongue sends that information to our brain, and the brain reacts, and we can understand what are we tasting. And then we have sight taste. Here, for example, it's important. Listen through our ears. I don't know if I'm good drawing this, but I will try. Our ear detects what we are listening to. This organ is more complex than you think. It's not only the ear, it's what is inside. The cochlea, that is an internal organ that is extremely small, and it's a bone. If that bone gets broken, trust me, you are going to have more problems than not just listening. The ear is not in charge only of listening. No, 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 no. It's not only in charge of listening. The ear is in charge of our equilibrium. Because the ear is divided into external ear and internal ear. The external ear is more focused in listening. The internal ear is more focused in equilibrium. So be careful about that. Then we have the other organs: sight, taste, the listening. We have touch, that it's in our skin, the biggest organ of our bodies, the skin. The sense that it's over there is called touch. And of course, the five senses, students, are very important because, well, maybe a person can survive without one of the senses, but the life becomes a little bit harder. Our body is a complex machine designed to work better with all the organs working together. Now that we analyze the sensitive nerves, that they capture the stimulus that are coming from outside, and then the organs of the senses that are eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and skin, performing the senses of sight, listening, smell, taste, and the skin sense is touch. It's important that you know that, because I'm going to ask you that in the Zoom meeting that we will have on Friday. So it's important that you this part, right? I'm going to ask you about that. Now, the motor nerves are in function of moving, transferring the orders of the brain to move, moving the muscles of our body. So imagine the brain has the control over all the organs. The brain has the control over all the joints connecting the bones. The brain has all the control over the muscles. We have about more than 600 muscles in our body, and the brain is controlling all the organs, all the bones, joints, all the muscles at the same time. Gosh, that's a really hard work. Well, now the locomotor system is formed by the muscles and bones. Locomotor system is the one that to transport ourselves from one place to another. Functional of the locomotor system is to move, execute the order of movement. And then, at the end, but not less important, the hormonal system. Well, the hormonal system controls the emotions and feelings. If you are in love, if you are feeling sad, if you all those feelings are regulated by the hormonal system, and of course the hormonal system is completely connected to our brain. So let's see, this part of here, it's the summary of all the content of the page. There's a lot of information here, right? They're going to speak about the cells that are inside the brain, that is the neuron, but that a video conference in Zoom. What are you going to do? Well, I will post this activity. You will observe the video, the explanation, and I want you to take this one, do it in your notebook, but I want you to add a drawing to each one of the words, right? You are going to add it only in the ones that I'm going to mark. Okay, let me prepare this. I want you to add a drawing, a small drawing, right? Not a big one. For example, you are going to draw brain. You are going to draw a small brain here and color it. Cerebellum, you are going to search a picture of a cerebellum and draw it here in small. Spinal cord, the same thing. You're going to draw the spinal cord and color it. Eyes, you're going to draw eyes. Ears, nose, mouth, skin. Neurons, you're going to draw a neuron. They are a little bit complex. They are almost like this. You are going to find pictures in internet. There are some pictures in books too. The neuron is a little bit more complex to draw. It's like this. And we're going to speak in the class about the structure. I will explain you all about the axon, the center, or the nucleus of the neuron, the vein of myelin. Well, all that I will explain you later, but I want you to do it, the drawings. You are going to draw brain, cerebellum, spinal cord, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, neuron. Okay, muscles and bones, you choose a muscle to draw, right? You can choose the muscle of the leg or any one that you want to choose. Bones, the same. The femur is one of the most common bones to draw. You can choose the femur or the omoplate or the skull. You can draw a skull, right? Skull means cráneo. So you can choose the bone that you want to draw. Only that. The others, no. I want you to focus in brain, cerebellum, spinal cord, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, neuron, muscle, and bones. Do all the scheme, right? Draw it, use a ruler to make the squares, the rectangles, and then add the drawings and color the drawings. You're going to do it in the notebook, then you will take a picture, and then you will upload it inside the platform. If you cannot do it in the platform, you are going to do it in my email that I will attach the email to the notification of the homework. So have a nice day. See you soon.